The number of people in the world is equivalent to Poland's population multiplied by 210. Some might think that in such a crowd, everyone would find their soulmate. And yet, who among you has felt lonely lately? You don't need to answer. The statistics speak for themselves. Loneliness affects 1 in 6 people worldwide. And according to World Health Organization, every hour, around 100 people die because of it. That's this entire room emptied. Chronic isolation increases the risk of premature death as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But maybe we're not truly alone. Maybe we just stopped paying enough attention to what is around us. Let's go back to the childhood for a moment. Each of us has experienced a time when an ordinary stone became a treasure, when a stick was a magic sword or a wand. Flowers amazed us, animals intrigued us. We explored our surrounding with the whole body, through touch, through taste, through movement. Every stimulus brought us joy and fueled curiosity. That's why, as a child, we could have spent hours staring at an ant, marveling at the rainbow, and asking, why, 100 times. We were naturally rooted in the world of nature. And then, something changed. At what point do we lose that childlike joy of discovery? And the most critical question, does it really need to be that way? Imagine that the planet breathes and lives like a body. Water flows through its veins. Forest provides oxygen, and soil nourishes it. We are its cells, and our health depends on its condition. Scientists are clear. Human health and the state of natural systems, biodiversity, soil, water, climate, are inseparably connected. This approach is called planetary health. And to put it simple and brutally honest, there are no healthy people on a sick planet. 1991, Arizona. A group of scientists decides to do what seems impossible. They want to seal an entire Earth-like ecosystem under a giant glass dome. Several hectares are transformed into miniature environments. An ocean, a savanna, a farmland, a rainforest. The project is called Biosphere Second. It sounds like the beginning of a new era. A recipe for surviving climate catastrophe. A way to colonize space, but reality quickly shattered the ambitious plan. An experiment meant to prove our power revealed our helplessness. And here lies the core truth. If billions of dollars and cutting-edge technology weren't enough to recreate what we have for free on this planet, then maybe instead of building artificial biospheres, we should learn how to take care of the one we've been given. The Arizona experiment was just a test. But today, our ecosystem outside the glass dome is faltering too. In 2024, the climate crisis hit hard, causing the damage of over $242 billion. That's more than twice NASA's budget that year. Nothing in biology makes sense unless viewed through the lens of evolution. And human evolution is a story written in a constant connection with nature. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors lived in harmony with Earth's cycle. They rose with sunrise and slept when darkness fell. Their activities follow the season. Time to hunt, time to gather, time to rest. The moon marked the rhythm of months, and changing season determined survival. These cycles shaped our bodies and mind. Sleep synchronized with day and night. Hormones released in tune with time. Metabolism adapted to the seasonal food. For human, nature wasn't just a backdrop. It was the environment that gave them safety and taught adaptation. This cycle shaped our species until civilization slightly began to cut us from it. Since Industrial Revolution, our sense of connection with nature has dropped by 60%. Step by step, we drift away from our source, and at some point we put on shoes. Seemingly trivial, just leather or rubber on our feet. But they were the first barrier between us and the earth. They got us off from what has grounded, balanced, and rooted us for millions of years. When was the last time you walked barefoot on the grass? Psychology and medicine call it grounding. Research shows that this simple act lowers stress, improves sleep, reduces pain and inflammation, and can even support heart and circulation. What was everyday life for our ancestors has become a therapy for us. Think about the air. Our ancestors breathed the scent of forests and meadows, and we inhale smoke and exhaust fumes. Air pollution is now responsible for 7 million of premature deaths each year. And yet it's the breath that regulates our life from the first to the last moment. When was the last time you saw a truly night? Without street lights, without neon signs, without screens. Modern cities never sleep. And with them, our bodies lose the signal, it's time to rest. Once, silence was filled with rustle of tree, bird song, and crackle of fire. And today, silence hardly exists. Streets, horns, notifications. Our nervous system is in a constant alert mode. When was the last time you were alone with your thoughts? Without distractions. Without that feeling that something is always chasing you. When was the last time you paused to ask yourself what truly matters to you, not what the world tries to impose? First shoes, then concrete cities, and now smartphones, cutting us off from one another. We live in times some call techno-feudalism. We give away our attention in the exchange for freedom. We trade our time, privacy, intimacy for likes. And though we live in the safest and most comfortable time in human history, paradoxically, we face the most significant wave of mental health struggle. Anxiety, depression, burnout. Never before they have been so common. We have more technology than ever, but less inner peace and fewer authentic connection. Humans survived not because we were the strongest physically, but because we could form bonds. Our ancestors gathered around the fire. That's where communication, safety, and trust were born. And it wasn't just a metaphor. Our brains are literally wired to need other humans to function correctly. Mirror neurons trigger embodied simulation. When someone smiles, the same area in our brain activates as if we were smiling. When someone suffers, we feel their pain too. Biology has programmed us for empathy and community, and today, more and more we turn away from each other. Instead of the fire that united us, we stare at screens that isolate us. We can argue whether the climate change is real or not. But regardless of where we're from or what we believe, there is one thing we all agree on. None of us likes drinking dirty water. And water is the memory of the earth. It has been circulating for millions of years, changing only its forms. Water you drink today could once have been a glacier, an ocean, a tear on a cheek, or a rain over a desert. Nothing in nature is lost. Water is on a continuous journey, and we are a part of its journey too. An adult should drink about 2 liters water a day, which means that around 730 liters of water flows through our bodies every year. But have you ever wondered what we're actually drinking? UNESCO reports that about 80% of wastewater flows into environment untreated. Scientists have discovered microplastic in human blood, lungs, and even in newborn placentas, which means that with every symbolic glass of water, we swallow particle of our own neglect, fragments of the story of our own choices. But maybe one way to reduce these pollutants and keep us bonded is literally within the reach of our head. It grows with us, reflecting the passage of time. Sometimes it's an ornament, sometimes a nuisance. Some people care for it, others ignore it, and yet it has a power many of you may not suspect. Do you know what I'm talking about? Hair. It looks insignificant, but it can hold the weight of an apple. And if you gather all the hair from one person's head, it could hold the weight of a bus. Under a microscope, it doesn't look like a tiny thread at all. It resembles a cannelloni tube, filled with keratin inside, and covered on the outside with tiny layers arranged like roof tiles. Their arrangements determines porosity, the ability to absorb and retain moisture and other substances. 1 kilo of hair can absorb 5 kilos of oil, 5 times its own weight. Hair can be felted into mats that not only clean oil spills, but could also retain a moisture in soil, making it more resilient to drought. Suddenly, something we always treated as waste becomes a hero. Something we lose and throw away every day can be a tool to take care for the planet and for ourselves. Perhaps it's precisely this simple discovery can be our first step toward reconnecting with nature and maybe even with humanity. I keep wondering, why did we end in a place where we must relearn how to take care of this relationship in the first place? Bookshelves bend under the wave of guides on how to be happy. But the truth is, we've always had what we really need within our reach. Nature is not somewhere out there. It's our home, our source, part of us. Returning to simple gestures means returning to ourselves. Maybe all it takes is to look at the world like a child, with attention, curiosity, wonder, because there is a power in simplicity. Humanity doesn't exist apart from nature. We are an integral part of it. And taking care for natural world is the simplest and most profound way of taking care for ourselves. Since today, when you brush your hair, think about them as a tool that could help the planet, but could also bring us toward what being a compassionate human should mean. Thank you.